What's up, Jacksonville? I'm Chip Davis. We're back for episode 3 of the 904 Unfiltered podcast. I'm still looking for video. I got video here. It's coming. Oh, we got a delay. Ready? Here we go. There I am. Hey, what's going on, Chip? Look, I can see myself. Anyhow, so welcome, guys. Welcome to 904 Unfiltered. I'm Chip Davis. We're broadcasting live here in Jacksonville, Florida. I've got my fishing co-host and good friend Bob Morris, and in the center, we got the one and only Eddie Kabler. You guys know him. He's goes by the name Big Show, which I gave him a long time ago.
No.
That's yeah, I'm kind of a little nervous, man. I'm like put me in the trunk, Eddie.
No,
Let's trade places.
I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be here between you two.
I know it's been, you know, one of the things when I first started my podcast, I wanted to get Eddie. I wanted to get you on the show. It was one of the first things I wanted to do. So it was almost like I was recruiting him, you know, like you go out on signing day, you're trying to get a big recruit to come in 5-star. And so when you committed to coming on the show, and you told me it was out of respect too, because a lot of people have asked you throughout the years to come and be on their podcast, and you coming and choosing ours, which we're going to our 3rd episode, is, you know, I really appreciate that, man.
It's for you two, man. I appreciate the invite.
You know, Chip, you remember, I'm sure you remember, it was pre-COVID. We had talked about getting us and having a round table on trout fishing. We're going to do that over at Strike Zone, I think.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah. So now it's going to be.
It's happening.
It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we? This is something that, you know, when I was doing the show with Captain Vic Tyson, I loved doing the radio show. I just hated doing it from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I was like, I felt like I wasn't talking to anybody, but that's kind of where I honed some of my skills for radio and how much I really wanted to get back into it. And podcasting has allowed me to come back and do something I really thoroughly enjoy, is sitting in here and actually, you know, listening to myself through the headphones, having my producer Andrew and Kenny over here. You know, these guys are behind the scenes. You couldn't do it without them. And just about to have a really great episode. We're gonna take a walk down memory lane, man. We're gonna let Bob's gonna be moderating and making sure he's keeping me, you know, letting people talk, which I love. And Bob and I fished today, and we had a really, really good time. We kind of pre-fished. But yeah, I'm gonna sit back and kind of let you know, we're gonna throw you softball questions, Eddie, and
Softball.
And I'm going to let Bob go ahead and get on it, Bob, before I get talking too much.
Well, you know, the first thing I'm interested in is with Eddie is, you know, like we've discussed on the first episode, is we just want to kind of hear the story of how you got into the fishing game, who your mentors were, how you started, where you started,
Man,
things like that.
Questions, man, already. That's like 4 in 1.
Yeah.
I mean, I started out pretty much like everyone else. You know, my dad started out bass fishing, brim fishing. So I got to thank him for sure. My parents, my mother, and kind of my love for bass fishing kind of turned into trout fishing. I mean, I red fished a lot, I flounder fished a lot, but it's just something about them trout that it's just different. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've caught 10-pound flounder, 10-pound redfish. It's just, you get a big trout, man. You know more than anybody that it's just different. The passion is just, it's real.
Yeah, I think it's something about the striking fish,
the thump of it, man.
Trout. But, you know, Chip will go back to this, is back in the day when we were first starting fishing, you know, triple challenges, everybody could go get a 7-pound red, but the trout was always the kicker. So always, we had to learn.
Still to this day.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right. The trout in a triple challenge, and I've said this before, like, especially in the spring triple challenge, there's not really, you're not going to in a fall triple challenge, you can put a lot of weight into a flounder. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You could say, okay, we can get a 3-pound trout, we can get a 7-pound red, we get a 10-pound flounder. Jeff Dry did that with a monster sack. But with the springtime triple challenges, it's all laid on that trout. You've got to have, and you weighed an 8-pound trout. Eddie.
Yeah, me and Jeff Crabtree. Yeah, I caught one.
Caught on spinnerbait, did you?
No, I caught it on like a little John jigging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, that was in the Clay Roberts.
That was the Clay Roberts. Yep, that was old Rick Thacker's special there. I gotta get shout out to Rick, 'cause Rick's the man. He's really the man. But
Bob, what's your biggest trout in a tournament?
Oh, maybe 6-7 pounders. You know, back in the day. But recently, I've had a hard time getting any good ones. Yeah, that's going to change on Saturday, though, right?
Yeah, I hope so. After the day, I don't know. But
my money's on y'all.
Well, you know, and it's funny that you say that, Bob, because, and, you know, we're going to keep it on the tour, but, you know, it's been since 1990, either 99 or 2000 since I've had a trout over 8 pounds. That's kind of that's 25 years, man.
It's tough, man. It's not easy.
It's and then this guy, you think you're having a great day, you know, with social media. You're posting up this 5-pounder because my nickname is 456.
456.
And so I'm pumped up, and then Eddie will just drop a 8-pounder, and people don't understand how hard it is to actually get that, and that just comes with time on the water.
A lot of time, a lot of grind.
A lot of grinding, time on the water, and just using lures and doing different techniques.
A lot of casting. Like everybody sees the fish and sees the glory, but they don't see the 1,000 casts before that. You know what I mean? The
hundreds of 3 and 4 pounders you kicked out of the boat before you got that big.
A whole bunch of 1-pounders as well.
So, so trout fishing is something that we all love. But tell the people, Eddie, about the first time you and I met.
I'm sure they've heard the story from you a few times, but yeah, I mean, we were fishing. Can I say we were fishing?
Yeah.
Big Fish Alley, which is Dames Point inside Mill Cove. God, this was what, 99, 98?
I think we talked about, I think it was 1999 or 2000.
99, yeah. Like I was fishing old Rapala Husky jerk, and I was just fishing old stump knocker 14 foot, and I see Chip, somebody I looked up to. I was young. He was just, but I seen him flop probably a 5-pound fish. And I was like, dude, that's a great fish. You know what's going on? And he just gave me the cold shoulder, treated me like shit. Like, just like, I'm like, dude, this dude's kind of like an ass. Like, honestly, I was just like, dude, like somebody I like kind of mentor. Like, I'm thinking like, this dude's kind of like an asshole.
And you guys know me well enough to know that's not really my personality.
You were that.
I mean, I went bump on his ass.
And I was like, screw this guy, man. Thank God we didn't have social media back then. I would have went live.
And little did I know that I was actually talking to the guy that was going to be whipping my ass later in life, and now I'm kind of like chasing Eddie, when I get in the boat with him, and I tell a lot of people, and Walt had the pleasure of fishing with you.
Walt's a great guy, man.
Walt's a really good, and he's a police officer, serving
just
the
a great
community.
dude, man. Humble, just a good dude.
Very humble,
willing to learn,
and he
not
kept
cocky.
And he kept asking me, he goes, "What's the difference? What makes that guy different?" And I said, "You'll just have to fish with him to find out." I said, "I can't really describe to you what makes Eddie any better than all of us. It's just he has a dog. I mean, he has a nose for fish." And he got the opportunity to fish with you. He said, just another level.
Yeah, I don't know I think I just work really hard.
And you run that trolling motor fast. So you power fish,
Yeah, I think I got like a 5-pounder that day. He's like, let me get the net. I said, man, we don't need no nets for this thing, man. Let me flop this thing in the boat.
Yeah, Eddie don't net fish, for those that know. It's got to be. And I've seen him. God, I remember that time we went night fishing, man. Oh my God. Him. We were in the Ancona skiff.
Yeah, a little 15-foot, 30 tiller.
And we were both fishing on the front of the boat, and I was on your right. I was on the right. You were on the left. And we must have caught so many 3 and 5 pound fish that night, Bob. It was
insane.
It was, and it's now.
God, that was what, 12, 13 years ago?
It was at least 13 years ago, and we were just fishing nighttime, man. And Eddie was like, "No, we don't fish the lights." I said,
"No,
what do you
lights,
mean we don't
small
fish the lights?" He says we fish in the silhouettes. We're fishing off the lights, silhouettes going down the river. And damn, if we didn't, I'd been in a slump. I go, I need a slump buster. So I told Eddie, I was like, get me, he goes, well, come on, we'll go. And I drove over to your house, and we went that night. We probably stayed about midnight, and I got tired of catching them.
I should have gave you the same energy you gave me that first time we met. That's what I should have did.
Well, and then another time that we went fishing was one of the best times. I said, meet me at Browns Creek, and it was Northwest 20. It was freezing
February,
cold.
I think.
It was February, and you had your boat, and I said, I'll meet you. And we met at Browns Creek, and then we put in at Clapboard.
Yep.
And the across the way, the crabbing ramp. And I show up at Browns Creek, and I got my swimsuit on, Bob, and I'm, it's cold. This dude walks in flip flops, jeans, and a flounder pounder hoodie, and that's the picture that I posted recently. And we ran in the Ancona. It was gnarly. We were going to the Danes Point Bridge on the Mill Cove, and we get in there, and I was telling you, the trolling motor's dead. And I go, and we had
you're like, screw it, I'll go buy a new one.
Yeah, and so we went all the way back to Browns Creek Fish Camp.
Bought a battery.
I said, let's go into the power plant. I said, we don't need to be in that Northwest 20 knot. We went into the power plant.
It was whacked them.
And Eddie was just getting on the 52. Remember?
You got me on the 52. I gotta give credit.
Yeah, and Eddie's like, I was like, just throw in that current, and we fired in the current, and that was one where Eddie had that beard. He's got his beard game has always been strong, man. Ever since that day,
that's about the only thing I got.
I wish I could grow a beard. I mean, I'm like 10. That'd be like 3 years for me right there.
It's about 3 years for me too.
But anyhow, so we ended up catching some really good fish, and then Eddie ended up getting a swimsuit. It wasn't long after that, but so those are just some of the trips that we've taken. But people don't understand, we don't really fish a lot together.
No, we don't.
I mean, but it doesn't mean that we can't.
I don't fish with a lot of people. I mean, people like you and Bob, of course. You know, I respect both of you guys. I fish with both of you guys. So, I mean.
Well, Bob's a hammer, dude.
Bob's the man.
He's very.
I mean, he just is. He's super humble. He grinds.
He goes, "You ever seen this?" He'll pull out something. I'm like, "Wow."
Bob does some. I gotta stop cussing. Bob does some stuff that people don't realize. I'm not gonna put his business on the street, but like Bob does some stuff that people don't even think about, especially with the redfish game.
Well, and that's why I was asking. I don't know. We talked about, but what was your most gratifying win? And I think that when you winning that redfish one with Suki. And this late in the game, and still solidifying that you're a hammer in the game. I mean, that's pretty strong, man.
Yeah, but who doesn't think he's a hammer in the game?
Well, I mean,
some of these young kids don't really know.
I was told by a certain person in the city, "Oh, what if you're a has-been?" I said, well, "I'd rather been a has-been and never been at all."
Yeah, but these. Well,
you know, I mean, people do forget. I mean, I did win one of the biggest tournaments. I won a redfish tour.
Yeah, but you forget more than they know.
Well, yeah, and then but now I said I powered all my energy into putting on, which I believe is the premier inshore tournament in Jacksonville. And I backed it up with doing a triple challenge.
Oh, the pounder, the one that he knocked me out of?
Oh, my gosh.
That sucked.
What year was that? Let's see. It was 20.
What year was that, Bob?
2013 aggregate. It was right there. It's on the wall.
I had it. Me and my brother DJ had that thing won. He come in last to weigh in, and I think he knocked me out by like a quarter pound or half a pound. But
well, he pulled a Jeff Dry and grandstanded, and that was right after that. You found out you had
him
cancer.
and Suki.
Yeah, I damn near died right after that.
Yeah.
I did too, Bob.
Well, it's funny because I'm sitting there and I'm looking at everybody coming in, and I see, and I don't even know what boat you were fishing, Bob. Maybe
we're fishing Suki's. Egret,
yeah. And I see, and I'm, and we were at Mobby, so I'm paying attention to people idling down, and Eddie and DJ has sat at that front table with Blair, and you guys sat there, and it's the hardest thing to do is to wait till everybody's weighing in to the last person. And I got on the microphone, and I remember saying, "Man, there's one guy in that line."
No, I see him come up.
We're in that gangway. You know how it was kind of cool. I mean, I really missed that Mobby setup. It's really
that
cool.
was a good setup.
It's a good setup. And anyhow, and Bob and Greg Suki and Bob came out there and knocked Eddie Cavler in the second place.
What'd you have, like 14 and a half or something like that? So I think I had like 13.9.
We must have just bumped. The funny thing that day is Greg will, he's a live bait. He had mullet, but we had, he's a tinkerer. So he's like, we're going to do some drop shotting. And so he had gotten these special hooks from Japan.
Well, he's letting stuff out the bag. Drop.
And so we're like, he's like, let's go over to the dry dock. He's like, and we pull up there, you can leave whenever. So we had, pulled up under the Wonderwood and got a net full of mullet. And so then we go up there and there's already 15, 20 boats over there at the dry dock.
Right.
And we pull in and, lines in, got a couple of flatties and like 14, 15 inches. I'm like, I feel like we need to run downtown. I'm like, just let's do it. If it doesn't work, we can always come back.
Too much information.
We're not going to give too much. Well, we pull up to the first spot and I pop a 5-pounder. And I'm just like, Chip likes that. I'm in the trunk, he's up there running. And I'm just sitting on the back, leaned up against the pulling platform, and I flat out wore his ass down, and he's like, what in the fuck are you doing different? I'm like, I don't know, bro, but it's just one of those special days.
And what were you throwing? Because he was...
No, I was throwing mullet that day.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what's so funny about all these artificial only guys. They're so proud of their artificial. And I got a lot of feedback when my flounder pounder. You gotta, if you want to fish with 40 boats and fish for $2,500, then we'll do it all.
Bait.
You gotta allow the bait. But I told them guys, I said, you go talk to Bob Morris. I said he'll drag you with artificial.
Artificial's gonna catch better fish 99%.
Well, but if you give Bob the opportunity to throw a mullet and he's got him, and I said Bob will drag you with live bait too.
Bob's gonna drag you no matter what.
But the funny thing is the next year we were in Mill Cove and we decided we were going to fish grass that year. And he caught like a 6-pounder. We cashed a check on big fish. I don't know, second or third place on a friggin' Johnson silver minnow. A big one, 3/4 ounce, one of his favorite baits. So
Suki's a hell of a fish.
He thinks outside the box on a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of fun fishing with him, but the one thing I'm thinking back, to Eddie, I don't want to talk about me all night, is you won't remember this, but and you don't know this, but there was a time when I dabbled in the kayak tournament business. And I remember I was out at the jetties. We were fishing a trout tournament, probably for the FLA. And these two kids are out there in their fucking kayaks. And I'm like, who are these motherfuckers? And
I'm guessing it's me.
hindsight, it's you.
Yeah,
but I mean,
and Craig.
It's you and Craig. You guys launched over there at
Dude, we used
Huguenot.
to do some crazy stuff.
oh my
back
God! But you absolutely ruled that game.
then. Yeah, it
That's
was
when
fun.
I first started hearing your name.
Wasn't that the Mike
"Who's this guy?"
Kogan? Didn't
Yeah.
Kogan have
That's
the
when it
big
was
one?
kind of big. I mean, I did boats and kayaks, but
You were
Yeah.
running in kayaks there for a while.
yeah, I was.
You know when
yeah.
I first really took notice of Eddie, and this is even before that, is when we remember the Florida Sportsman message board,
Yes.
and you were with the Sure Set jigs.
Yep.
Yep.
And you had Eddie, and you were that's back when he was throwing 3-pound tests and 2-pound
I
tests.
still throw light line from time to
But I
time.
mean, but that's what I was like, like who is this guy, And I was like, because you were, because everybody in that time, social media wasn't even around yet.
For sure.
So it was all going to the Florida Sportsman Board and go to the Northeast region. And Eddie was on there posting when you guys were taking trips down to 10,000 Islands. And I mean, Elijah was just like,
Yeah,
it was
little
just
baby.
you and DJ were just out, and you had your Sure Set jigs.
yeah.
And I said, who is this guy? And I was following you. And then I remember I did a flounder pounder one time, and you had come on board, and you're like, let's get behind this guy. He's doing a great thing. And that's when I first met you, and you had that double.
Yeah.
He had 2 8-pounders, and Eddie was like, look at these. And I was like, this guy is out of his mind, man.
It doesn't matter because it didn't have it on tournament.
Well,
It took
but
12 years.
But yeah, it took. So those that don't know, Eddie Calloway's had a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and a 5th. And I've been wanting him to, you always want, it's not like you don't want your friends. Everybody that's on that board right there, that's won, they've earned it. And of course, there's a lot of my friends on there, but there's some people I don't really know. But like I was telling you today, Bob, as soon as somebody wins my tournament, I'll vet them. I'm like, who is this guy? I want to know who they are, make sure, they're legit. Like the guys that won it this year, they were, they grinded. I mean, they were in it. But and so I had to watch Eddie come out there and not walk away with the trophy. But the year that he won my tournament, which was the 14th annual, it was crazy because I knew there was a bite, and that was when it was just popping off downtown. You could have put it. Well, I'm not saying exactly where, but that you could have put a turd on.
Well,
a
I
hook.
FaceTimed you. Since I caught
You
it.
could have put a turd on a hook that year and caught a flounder. There were so many flounders stacked up downtown. And I mean, that was one of the busiest weigh-ins ever.
Yep.
And I walked outside and I was loading up the U-Haul, and I'm a fisherman by heart, and I'm looking at the weather. I'm like, there's a bite.
I was on a bite for a while.
Yeah, you were. Well,
yeah.
you go into, there's another thing. He goes into tournament mode. He goes 14 days
Yep.
into straight pre-fishing.
Yep.
Which some people were jealous by that. But then again, before I get all this stuff, Eddie lives within his means. He doesn't live. He can go fish because he's not living in a $500,000 house. He has a beautiful house on the north side. He's probably already had it paid off. So he's allowing himself to live his best life instead of going and buying a house for $500,000 and having to work 5 days a week and make a blah, blah, blah. So don't get hate, anyhow. So getting back to him. So I walked outside, had to get off that because people don't understand how you can fish every day. And so I get a phone, and next time I get a FaceTime. I'm like, oh shit, it's Eddie. I go, hey, what's that? He goes, I got her. I'm like, holy moly, dude, what do you got? He's like,
No, that's not what Jay said. Are you there? I'm
no,
like,
the first thing and I'm not going to say the place, but
Yeah,
I can
please
see.
Don't say the place.
Please.
And I went just like this. I go, are you? He goes, yeah. I goes, dude, I've been here. I said, dude, I've been looking at that spot for 35 years. So anyhow, you'd hooked a 9-pound flounder, and you were using. I mean, I can tell you were like, it looked like you were using a 6-inch bait, a big
no,
bait,
bigger, yeah, on a
big-
bucktail,
on
yeah.
a bucktail, looked like a flare jig,
Mhm.
and she had inhaled it. And I told Eddie, don't remove the hook. Leave
Yeah,
it in
she
her
was
mouth.
bleeding pretty bad.
She'd have died on you. But
So I asked you if you could
but
open it
people
early.
don't-
I was like, can
people
you
don't
open the
even-
weigh in early, please?
and people don't even understand. Even with a 2-pound penalty, you'd have still won. You'd had 13 pounds.
Yeah, because I tried to pull some strings. I said, can you open it? You're like,
Yeah,
no, I can't open it.
And you did, and that's another thing. People, I had all these people emailing me. Not a lot of people, but I mean, just bullshit after my tournament. Like, we want to have blah blah blah. It's like, y'all just shut the f up, man. I'm not the guy won. I know he won it.
Yeah.
because you always hate. There's always
That's
that
all
certain
the time, man.
That's it in anything, but. So he ended up with a 9-pound fish, which was the kicker fish that day, and he had 15-10, I think.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
And so when I got to do my, and big shout out to Bob, Big Show Bob Mann, that
was the
my
greatest
DJ.
feeling of my life.
It was probably I couldn't.
Tournament-wise.
I was thinking of Lenny. Big Dog Lenny was up in heaven, and because Lenny always pulled for you, Eddie. I know you're getting them, sunshine.
Yeah,
I said,
every year.
You never fish a day.
Everyone thinks they know where I'm getting them
I
from
know.
my photos.
Because I know where he's getting those. I said, shut up, Lenny. You work every day. But I had to ad lib that, in my mind. I was like, this guy's got a second, a third,
Still gives
a
me the
fourth,
chills.
a fifth, and then Bob hit that friggin'. And I go, put your hands together, guys. Eddie Kabler, And that's like, I mean, I'm getting chills right now.
Too.
And Bobby, it brought everybody close. So you had, and people stayed and they wanted to see Eddie win. You had your family there and everybody came and Bob Manis hit that freaking George Thorogood, the bat to the bone, and then it's a boom, and you're walking by and people are high-fiving you, and Eddie walks up to me, dude, and he hugged me genuinely. You know, it's almost like when you win, like when people win,
it's a lot of work, man.
You get the monkey off your back, and that's what I'm saying. You got the monkey off your back on the 14th annual Flounder Pounder. You're sitting right there in that picture, which is killer. Bob, you ended up with the round trophies.
Yeah, I got the better trophy.
Yeah, but it was still. I mean, everybody. Little man's got the cedar trophy.
yeah, no doubt.
You know, I mean,
so I won at the right time for sure.
Yeah, and big shout out to Brian Russell for always making my flounder trophy. So anyhow, but that was cool. Bob, you're the moderator on this. Keep on, because I'll walk all over.
Let's talk about Bob a little bit. I mean, Bob's the man.
No, I'll tell you the fun thing, and I mentioned this in one of our previous episodes. You know, we've shared a boat in a couple of tournaments, and you know, I know right away, because when I fished with Eddie and I fished with Chip and the guys that I've been blessed to fish with, is when you say what's going to happen and it happens all day long, we're going to go here and this is how it's going to set up and this is where they're going to be. And what I, recognize immediately off the bat is you did that the whole time we fished, both times. And I was impressed with that. But, I look at, we all probably pay attention to bass fishing. And I look at you and I think at KVD, Kevin Van Dam, because not for the accolades, but just the style, it's pure power fishing. Because I remember fishing with you and you're like, get it closer and go faster. And we're going to burn this.
Yeah, I'm trying to burn.
And I think that, thinking about that, you're probably really keying in on reaction bites.
100%.
Yeah. And seeing how
I'm trying to go to the fish, not wait for the fish to come to me.
Right. Yeah. And so just like we had said before, I consider us all grinders.
Yeah.
No, God didn't touch you and say you're the fishing master.
For sure.
Go out and I also think that we're hunters.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between hunting and fishing. I'm hunting fish every time I go out. And a lot of people, and that's why we talk about live bait versus lures. I'm like, ain't nobody going to sit there with a float rig in one spot all day and beat me. Yeah. If I'm running and gunning.
And if they do, that's what it is.
Well, it is what it is.
Dustin beat me and Mike Phillips in that triple challenge. You know Dustin.
Well, it happened. We won that first Premier Trout tournament, me and Chuck, and the guys that won the aggregate. I think they had.
Oh, the guys from Georgia.
I don't know. I think they were local. Was it Matt Pittman?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah, but
I won the last 2 years, the aggregate, but yeah.
Yeah, they were deep.
Yeah.
Deep float rig.
It's
25 foot of water.
I'd love to do an all artificial triple challenge. I mean, the
you're not going to
I don't think you should.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
You're just not going to get. I'm not going to be able to pay out $10,000.
It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The people that complain are the people that's just going to find something to complain regardless.
Exactly.
Well, we had that. There's an elitist feel to the lure fisherman a lot of times. I'm like, but if you're really a well-rounded angler, you know how to do bait,
right?
100%. Just like you know how.
Well, you're not. I mean, I never feared them, man. I was like, what is? Because that one thing that they always came to the scales with was like. They always had a 7-pound red because they go up there on the flats and chunk a mullet, but they just always dragged in the trout, But we were beating them with bigger lures. We were going to get them, we get them with a big lure, and it's not like you can't get them on. I mean, my biggest trout I ever caught was as a 31.5-inch trout at 9.5 pounds. I caught it under Big Fish Alley on a float rig.
Yeah,
but I don't really even talk much about that fish. My biggest trout, and that's what we're going to talk about now. My biggest trout was caught in 2000 on a white top dog in Simpsons Creek. It was 32 inches long. It weighed 9 1/4. I thought I had my 10-pound trout. I called Brian Dufek. He was working at C&H, and I had a Berkeley Didge because you can't round up.
You can't
round up on a trout. You guys that
are
are watching out there, you cannot round up on a trout. If it's 9 1/4, it's 9 1/4. And my father-in-law was with me, and I caught it, and I just dropped to my knees like, I got my 10-pounder, because I still don't have a 10-pounder.
You called me before saying you had a 10. It was like
I know. Well, you get so excited.
But I know for sure.
Right, but it was 32. So that fish in the spring would have probably been a 12-pound fish.
Yeah.
Because it was in the middle of August. It was at 12 o'clock noon, Bob, on a white top dog. Mm-hmm. And I busted it where I came up on the backside of Fort George up in the Simpsons, where it's just sandbars, and you get in those turns. Now it's just all the tourists and kayakers and all. You'll kill people there now. If you haul ass in there a boat, you'll run somebody over. But I knew that run so well, I could just zip back there And I got back there with my father-in-law, and I thought it was another redfish. We were catching so many reds, and it just slurped it in, and it was 32 inches long, biggest trout I ever
big
caught.
fish. What's your biggest fish, Bob?
I mean, just over 9.
I mean, that's a huge fish. People don't understand how big that fish is.
Well, what's your biggest fish?
Probably 12.
Was it the one that you caught over there?
I got 11 with mirror lure that they sent me a mount of. I've got a couple good fish. I got some good fish.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that mirror lure hookup.
What about it?
I tell people all the time. I said, Eddie, that was like a marriage made in heaven, because I was getting asked by Dave Workman, was like, take these guys fishing, take these guys fishing. And this is what I said verbatim.
You definitely sent the alley-oop.
I said, Dave, they don't need to fish with me. You need to get those guys to fish with Eddie Kabler. And that's how it all started.
And they gave me a half Pat Stinson called me, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But he said, I want to give you a try, a half a day. It was a 3-day shoot. He gave me, a half a day. Luckily, I caught 2 fish, 1.6 and 1.5, and he invited me back to do 3 more days, and then the rest is history.
It was perfect. I've known Eric Botton. We fished against Eric for years. Eric fished the redfish tours. I used to call Eric up and go, send me, remember that mirror lure I was throwing today? I was like, they only made it in 17. And I called Eric. I was like, you got to make this in a 27. I don't throw that 17, man. But Eric Botton is very, it's good to have you. And I was telling Bob the other day, Eric Botton's brother-in-law runs the shop, runs the online ordering. And one of my colors wasn't on the website. And I called him. I was like, are you guys going to make this color again? Is it just like, because they put me back to him. I forget his name, nice guy. And he says, what do you mean? I'm looking at 250 of them. I was like, well, they ain't on the website. And sure enough, it wasn't on there. It was the very first color. And so
I love mirror lure.
He threw me a couple. He goes, thank you for bringing that to our attention. He goes, I wonder why we weren't selling any. I said, well, they weren't on the site. So he threw me a couple extra ones in, and I ordered. I mean, I support Dave Workman all the time.
100%. I love Dave.
And just sometimes the colors just aren't there, and I just want to, I just order.
Yeah, but Dave will get whatever you want.
Well, and he'll make custom colors.
Yeah, Dave will do whatever you want. So
Strike Zone is. I mean, I'm looking at all these posters and Strike Zone on every one of them.
Dave
all
is
the way
the
through.
absolute best. I love Dave.
We're going to have to get him in here. Yeah, we got to get
Oh,
him
God.
Oh, my God.
I'm working on that.
I think so. We were telling people, so we're this is our 904 studio, but Eddie made up a great idea that we can go out on my back porch and we can just be like the relaxed 904 Unfiltered.
I'm trying to smoke a cigar. I'm trying to relax.
But that's going to be something that we're going to do. And of course, we got Andrew up here as our producer, and Kenny. It would just flip the script and go out there, and Eddie can hit on the cigars, and we can just get, like we talked about, getting Danny in here.
Yeah,
getting
shout out to Danny Hall, the legend.
Yeah,
he won the Flounder Pounder twice, I think. Maybe 3 times, twice.
He's a heavy hitter, man.
Danny's my boy. I love Danny.
I like Danny.
He's just a good dude, man.
He's a good golfer.
I mean, I'm not either. So we both just suck.
Well,
but we have a good time.
You know what's so crazy, guys? Like, I was looking over here. We got a lot of questions real quick. Can I pop a couple of these questions, Bob? So we got a lot of people on here, man. We appreciate it. So we got Danny Hall says, yeah, boys. You got your son. Big show. Yeah, he put the GOAT. Real Intention, the man, the myth, the legend. 904 and Jax, welcome y'all. Then we got Salt Run Extreme, Docks and Rocks, the GOAT. Talking about this guy. William Bryan says, I'm fishing new water in Georgia. What's a good way to find trout? Man. If you're in Georgia. I mean, Georgia looks a lot like Jacksonville.
Call Tim Cutting.
Tim Cutting.
Charter Tim Cutting. He used to be a heavy hitter here, and he moved he does hammer the fish up there, man.
He's on them. It seems like up there they fish a lot of creeks and deep.
Yeah. You don't see them like out in the flats, like in the cove. And all
I think that's what a lot of people do here, though, and I think that's where they mess up. A lot of people are scared of the river.
Yeah. Well, it's
really
intimidating.
I mean, I really believe that.
Well, we got intimidated by it today.
Yeah, for other reasons.
It beat us up. We got 904niceass.com. That must be Slim.
That's nice ass.
904 Ruckus loved watching that big win that year. I absolutely cranked that bat to the bone. That was Big Show Bob.
Bob's a man. Yeah.
Oh, Dad, Bob, you the man, bro. I couldn't done it. Real Attention, Skip and Justin are the Kings of Georgia. Skip and Justin, I think those are the guys.
The Georgia boys, we call them. Yeah,
boys.
for sure, 100%.
And then I got my man Chris up there in my Miggy's sunglasses, and Eddie was asking about the sunglasses. I'll let you try up here. I love supporting new brands and all that. But those guys are from Roanoke, Virginia, where my girlfriend Piper's at. We love us some Piper Nicks.
Hey, You need to tell him to get you some prescription shades.
Yeah,
He's up there blind today.
Oh, I can't do. I'm like my eyesight.
Mine too, man.
Bob and I had such a good time on the water today, man. We took my.
That's why I love fishing with you guys, because it's like it's a grind, but like we got the same kind of gel, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, you don't have to say nothing. Everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And I was telling Bob, I was like, well, we kept looking for the snips. Where's the snips? And then I'm sitting there trying to tie a hook. I was like, I can't see, man. And I started talking to him about LASIK. I was like, and then Bob was like, I don't want to trust somebody ruining my eyes. I was like, I don't either. And then, big shout out up there to Chris Migley's. They're up there in Roanoke, Virginia, Miggy Sunglasses.
Listen, you got to pay for that, man. You can't just say that. They got to pay for that.
Well, he paid with sunglasses.
Gotcha.
But eventually we're gonna fill up this table with some sponsors, and then people are looking out there who want to get your stuff on this table to support us. They call it, I think it's called Patriarch. Is that what it's called? When people support your YouTube channel, so Patreons, yeah, you can donate some money so I can pay the man that's producing it. But I want to jump into some more questions here. But look, Jacob Nicholson, you know that guy, Eddie?
Not personally. I mean, I don't. I know him from social media. I mean,
have you ever met Jacob? You never met him?
Never have.
You just talked to him on the
from time to time. I know he won the slam tournament.
Triple.
Yeah, they did awesome, man. Did a good job. They're young, you know. Well, they're grinding, so good for them guys.
You said talk about the L30. What about the L30? Did you help design that lure?
I did. Me and Ray, which also passed away from cancer. But yeah, I forgot when that was. But yeah, I helped design that baby.
Because what used to be the L29.
Well, there was an L29.
L29.
They don't make it anymore.
They don't make it anymore. There's a little bit in stock. Because that was a Chinese, from what I remember.
For sure.
Eric telling me, because I was doing those photo shoots before. I never produced any 6-pound trout, so I got kicked off the team. But it was always fun. But to me, the fun thing was, remember Ray?
Yeah, I love Ray. Rest in peace.
Yeah. But he would tell you about the physics and stuff behind the
that's
lures,
what he was behind.
Which was
that would
really
be
cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. L30 to me is made for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I designed it to run, I mean, I think it says like 5 to 6 or 4 to 6 foot, but I can get it down to 11 foot with the right line.
Really?
You know what I mean? So
have you guys seen his I always call that the twitch pause. I was like, I always tell people you can't. I've tried so many times to emulate that.
Well, you're throwing a casting rod.
Well, and I throw a bait cast.
Yeah,
and I was even telling Bob,
you're throwing a casting rod. You can't throw the L30 with a casting.
You can't get it the way you're working.
Can't get the snap.
Right. I mean,
you got to like pop the slack instead of pulling.
Right.
Anyways.
When you talk about line and depth, expand on that a little bit for us, because I'm curious myself. I mean, I basically throw the same 6-pound diameter Power Pro and a 20-pound fluoro leader. I'd never changed that. I've never experimented with.
That's basically what I throw. I throw like an 8-pound Power Pro or a braid, and then I'll throw 15 to 20-pound leader. Mm-hmm. And it just depends on like where I'm fishing at. Sometimes I can keep the rod up a little bit and it'll get down 6 foot, and then you can rip it down with a long cast with light leader and get it down 9 to 11 feet and really bump them pilings and the rocks. I'm big on like trout. To me is like bass fishing. They're exactly like bass. So like anything a bass, like drop shotting.
Yeah.
Me and my brother DJ, whenever we were red fishing 15, that's all we did was red fish. We were drop shotting a lot, fishing pilings, deep river stuff. So it's kind of crazy you said drop shotting for flounder, because I never actually thought about that, but I always did it for redfish. But the line just makes so much difference in like the depth, fluorocarbon, or like
so
mono.
You're 8-pound braid on your, what do you
8 to 10-pound braid.
Sustain?
I mean, honestly, I throw Stellas, I throw Stratics, but I meant the like
Stella.
Like for the money, just throw a Stratic, man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Honestly, I mean,
what about color? Because
I'm a natural
you're a big
guy.
natural, because he freaks on this.
I hate you throwing like loud ass colors. Like I've never seen a mullet that color in my life.
I don't know if you guys,
but I know you catch them. You know what I mean? I just don't have no confidence in them.
It's one of those things. Like, what was your saying about chartreuse?
It ain't no use if it ain't chartreuse.
And Eddie has always been either orange belly, black back.
Yeah, like an 808. Like
808.
Yeah, that's just for stained water. But if it's clear out there, like a white or a black back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, what I heard one time, and sometime in the past 58 years, is the key is having contrasting colors, whether it be red and white, black and silver, because they're going to see one or the other.
For sure.
That's what I've been told. You know,
red and white is. I mean, I cut my. I mean, that's what
I throw dark colors in dirty water, and I'll throw light colors in clean water. And people throw different. Like some people throw light colors.
Mike Phillips is a lot like you. Mike likes natural, dude. He loves that.
I'm just a natural
color.
guy.
Yeah, he likes that mullet color. He's like,
and what I learned, you know, back in traveling on the redfish tour and going all around the Southeast is another tip I picked up somewhere is like when I'm fishing grass, like in Mosquito Lagoon or over in Steenhatch or something like that, is the bait fish match the grass color. So I throw a lot of greens or golden brims or stuff like that over there. It's just kind of, but I think ultimately it's what are you confident?
Confidence is everything.
What are you confident?
Because he's throwing damn clown colors. Like it's, but I mean, he catches fish, but that's why they call him 4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6.
4, 5, 6.
Maybe if I got off them stupid ass colors, I catch 7, 8, 9,
that's
10.
That's not what it is.
I mean, it's. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I get a fish over 8 pounds. I mean, it's been so long. I think the last fish I had that was 7 was. Oh man, was it the?
You had one over 7. I think about 2 years ago when you called me.
I had when my mom passed away, and I was off for that whole week. I caught that one over there in the intercoastal, and I had that. And I went.
You called me one day, freaking out. I got it. I got it.
I caught that.
And it was like 7 pounds.
He weighed 7.
I was like, "Oh, Chip's got it." And it turned out to be a 7. I'm like, "What are you doing, man?"
I had Sean Rampachet with me, and God bless him because he took a beating for that net job. I was
scooping butterflies.
Well, he wasn't scooping, but I was like, "Don't you miss this fish!" Sean did a great job.
I think I remember that. Did you like break the net or something?
No,
you broke the net one day.
I broke the net with Chip Rampachet.
Okay, about to say
when I fished it, I slammed it. I broke the freaking net because it was in my jumbo. We were in the valley.
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, what did you do that for? You know, Chip's like, because you could be beating that guy, Chip Rampachet, 30-1. And he goes, they'll hit this too. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I got the same.
He'll
color.
throw the 52 in the middle of the summer.
And he's just and he likes bacho hooks.
Yeah.
He goes
rusted up.
I go, you got one time I told her you're gonna get botulism when she thought you don't get botulism for rusty hooks. I go, so we called him Bacho Man. Because his hooks would be so bachoed out. But this is a good one.
Yeah.
72M. This is the one Roger Bump caught, the 8.5 pounder.
I'm not a big fan of the 72. I mean, I've caught fish on it, but I'm more of a TT guy or the 52 guy.
TT.
And now, honestly, I'm kind of.
When they built this,
the 28 and the 18, honestly, has been taking its place.
Built for tarpon.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. And then Roger Bump. We got to talk about the history.
Roger's a great fisherman.
Yeah, he's a good fisherman. So when I turned him onto the 52M, he thought he found the Holy Grail. He started experimenting with the 72M. And so I took Bob to the spot where we caught that, that 8.5 pound trout that won that first IFT in the spring, where Mike Phillips got 3rd, Jeff Trout and Brian Dufek got 2nd, Bob got 4th. I mean, what a top 4.
Yeah.
And I think who got 5th? It was, I'd like to look that one up, but it was Roger Bump and I 1st, Jeff Trout, Brian Dufek 2nd, Bob Morris and Chip Wingo.
No, it was me and Ted.
Right. You and Ted.
Yeah.
Mike Phillips was in 3rd.
Yeah.
And then Bob Morris and Ted got 4th.
That's what I'm saying, man. You got a lot. You two got a lot of wins.
That's
man.
a lot. That's a lot of hits. But Roger was so bummed out, and we went up to that spot in the first cast. I thought he hooked a jack, but I was like, it's spring. There's no big jacks, and it was an 8 3/4 pound trout.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was a beautiful fish, man. He was throwing a Calcutta 150. That thing was screaming, dude. It was even before we had all these low profile bait casters. I was still probably throwing I was telling Bob today I threw a Calcutta 150 forever. With the 7.5 foot rod. I lived on top water, Eddie.
Yeah, I know. I hate top water. I was gonna say,
I hate top water, by the way.
Yeah. I hate top water.
Okay. I mean, I started with top water. I think the Top Dog came out in 97 or something.
98,
97.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
And I was all on it, but I missed so many. I'd rather lose a fish on a L30 sub bait and tell myself it was a jack or a bluefish instead of seeing an 8 or 9 pound trout roll on the top water and miss it. So it's all mental for me. I miss a lot of fish on top water.
And you do. I mean,
even fishing like grass for redfish, they get in the grass and the trebles get caught up in the grass. It's just.
Now tell me this, Eddie, and I know you've done this, but the top water bite in a kayak is pretty fucking cool.
It is.
Pretty neat to watch.
It is. I mean,
it's just a different perspective when you're water level. Seeing how they,
for sure.
You learn some stuff about how they feed.
100%.
Yeah.
Hell, I was with Bob and he caught his biggest redfish on top water. We were together last.
Yeah, that was crazy.
A bull red or something?
It was a bull red. He caught it on a.
That's no fun. I'd break my line.
He caught it on but it was the biggest effing hit, man. It was we were sitting out in the middle of the river. It was one of those days in the river. It was a fall day. The tide wasn't humping. It was hardly any wind. and Bob and I are moving down the bank, community hole, and Bob's throwing, and he broke out the super spook,
The big one.
the speckled trout one, and he's like.
Oh, I've been wearing Chip out all morning. We hadn't fished together in probably 25 years.
Yeah,
right?
it's been a long time.
And we just planets aligned.
We just got together
and
and
rekindled this friendship. But
I'm whacked him.
I'm flat out wearing his ass out. And he's like, God, I didn't bring a topwater. I'm like, well, you screwed up, buddy.
I saw Bob lose a giant trout.
Really?
It was
on top water.
Top water.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was probably
exactly.
one of the, you could tell it was a trout because she rolled.
Exactly.
It wasn't a redfish. Redfish will hit it and it'll just be
Exactly.
gone. A big trout, and immediately her mouth's just going to get up on the surface.
You get a lot of big fish on top water. I feel like most anglers nowadays are like a top water guy. I'm just anti
His
top
first
water.
8-pounder came off a Top Dog Junior, wasn't it? At the wall.
Well, no, it was right after the top dog came out and we were fishing the wall. And I used to fish.
God, the wall ain't the wall.
No, it ain't. After work a lot. That's why I did so good in all the Wednesday night tournaments, because that was, I'd go bust my ass printing T-shirts all day, and I could go out from 6 to dark. And me and my buddy Jamie went down there, and it was right after the top dogs came out. And I remember I caught that 9-pounder, and then 2 casts later got a 7.5.
That's how it was back then,
boom,
man. That's how it was. You could just get them, man.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that. You still had to get them, but yeah.
But I mean, you could go down there.
They were
there.
there.
They were
It
there.
just
Yeah,
seems
they were
like,
there.
there's, and we've discussed before, there's 3 things that's killing us.
Dredging.
Dredging.
Yeah.
Pressure.
I mean, honestly, I think them moving the little jetties really hurt
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
bottom
truthfully.
drawer.
Yeah.
So like them move, I think that messed up the flow.
Yep.
My opinion. And again,
Well, I mean, we're looking how fast the current's moving because the river's so much deeper
Mhm.
now. So it's under. So we were talking about the white shell rocks. The white shell rocks are what they're doing. They're falling because the water's undermining them, and they're not there. There used to be a time when you could go down to white shell rock, and Jeff Dry caught some monsters off white shell,
Oh, yeah.
and he would pull the top water. Thank you, Bob.
Bud Light.
Yeah. So he would pull that big spook through the breaks in the white shell where the rocks where the current be running out. And he fished for Brian Dufek for a long time, and he had monsters. I mean, Jeff Dry you saw the Grady Warren.
Oh yeah, that's an old video.
That was the
Could
Grady.
it be another 8-pounder?
Grady Warren. Yeah,
Yeah,
Grady had
Grady's
some
the man.
monsters. Jim Ramika.
I fished with Jim Ramika back in the old days. He used to have old Proline.
Proline, yeah. We called him
I
Meat
fished with him a
Runner.
long. Golly, is he still alive?
I saw him
he
guiding
is, yeah.
bass
Is he?
fishing down.
God,
at,
that's been a long time. I fished with him when I was young.
Well,
young.
he would. Well, our nickname for him was, he always showed up at the captain's meeting. He had one of those big 7-Eleven cups with Crown Royal because and he was all that. But we called him Meek Runner because he had no problem running 80 miles. to
No,
a spot.
Jim is. Yeah, he's like
He
Nathan
ran that
Stewart.
pro line like a
full throttle all the time.
He had a 200 Merc on the back or 200, and he would be gone, man, in that pro line. Or it was a pro line.
It was a Proline flats boat. So
Yeah.
I fished with him. A few
Yeah,
times,
he was a great fisherman. And
Yeah.
him and one of the best videos Grady Warren ever did was at Mud River
Yeah.
when they
that
were
used to
coming
be a
down
good
that
spot
right.
back in the day.
I mean, they had like
10-pounder,
a
yeah.
10-pounder. Boom, Jim Ramika, 10-pounder on top water, and it was an overcast day, and I mean Grady was just shaking. I mean, he'd get, oh God, Jim, you got another good one. His shows were
You're like a young Grady there.
I mean, I'm a Grady when it comes to the
Yeah.
tournament.
Well, not just that, just like the enthusiasm.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I mean, who couldn't feed off Grady, man?
No,
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, Bob was as tight as anybody with him. I mean, he was.
Like Grady was the man. for
Well,
sure.
I mean, Bob and Grady were fishing for tailing redfish in the 90s.
Well, the funny thing about Grady is that we kind of fought cancer at the same time, and unfortunately, he didn't make it, and I did. But as he was going through treatments, I took him out on the water a few times, and he always can catch him up.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting there on the back of the boat, just bone tired from the radiation he was doing, and I remember throwing that friggin' putting him on a chartreuse TT at White Shell Rocks, and he's just sitting on the back, and I look back, he's like, I got another one.
Yeah.
Got another one. I mean,
Oh, Grady's
practically
the man.
trolling it behind the boat, so weak. But yeah, it was.
I remember when we went and did that redfish video down there when we went downtown, and he had running down a dream,
Yeah.
and we were, that's
I
what
used to see him back in the day in Goodbees.
well, remember that's where he used to
Yeah.
do his show.
Like he used to do a lot because at Hooters, he'd
Yeah.
always go to Hooters, get some wings.
Great.
And
You
some
know,
beer.
what's so crazy is, and I took care of Grady's father.
Yeah.
And Grady's father was at St. Vincent's Riverside, and I saw the last name Warren, and I said, "Oh, you wouldn't happen to know Grady?" He goes, "That's my son."
Yeah.
And Grady should have been a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
He tore his shoulder up. He played at Paxton High School, and he said Grady was one of the best baseball players you'd ever see.
Yeah.
He was a big son of a bitch.
No,
man.
he was. Grady.
And that's why Grady didn't take no shit at his tournaments. If he didn't like you, he'd tell you to kick rocks and hit the road.
Yeah.
And he always had his freaking hat on.
Yeah, a little straw hat.
The Daiwa hat.
Daiwa, yep.
Yeah, he had the Daiwa hat.
The old Winn-Dixie boat. I think Thacker has.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
But Grady, he showed me that part of the river, but he would go wade fishing because his brother-in-law was wealthy and had bought a lot down there, kind of just to the south of Goodby's. And he took me down there a couple of times just to walk around and try to catch fish. We didn't do any good. But he's like, man, I come down here and this is his. I guess it was his uncle or cousin or nephew. His name was Bubba. He's like, I'm going to go down to Bubba's property and we're going to walk out here and.
Well, one of the biggest. What was Mr. Beck's son? The one that was the gill netter.
I'm not really sure. It had to be either Brian.
Well, he told me the biggest trout he ever gill netted was down there by NAS, 13 pounds.
Grady told me that the year of the VIP Jaguars tournament, he had some VIPs, and he was up in Trout River, and he said he saw the biggest trout. He's like, I guarantee this thing could be probably close to a world record. He's
That's
like,
crazy.
It was just monstrous. They were fishing just around bridge piles of one of those two, where I'm talking about, the railroad bridge and all that.
Do you remember that trout that was caught down there at the Buckman? That was like 13. It was like the guy was holding, because it was right at the time when Rick Thacker was jigging a lot down there.
You got to be quiet a little bit.
Well, I
man.
mean, everything has changed so much.
Yeah, but
you know what, Eddie? A lot of guys aren't going to take the time. Like Bob and I had this discussion. We're at the point in our fishing careers and all that I'm not looking for new spots
I know, but you don't need to give them away.
Well, I'm not really. I'm not. Well, don't
we
worry.
got a little bit left.
Hey,
y'all got one Saturday actually.
Don't worry, Eddie. I'm not giving away. They're all on YouTube.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Y'all got all these YouTubers out there who want to teach everybody, not let anybody go out there and learn how to do it themselves.
The new generation has it easy for sure.
Well, let me ask you this, Eddie. Now I'm going to give you the respect due, is you seem to stay on them for probably the last 15, 16 years. You have consistently stayed on these big trout. How do you do that? I mean, is it just time on the water?
I think it's time on the water. Just the pattern. You guys know more than anything. I mean, the first thing I look for is water clarity. Right. So water clarity is number one. Tide is probably number two, and then temperature. And then I kind of just follow them throughout the year. And, if we get a hurricane and salinity is really bad, I move kind of closer to Mayport. If we haven't had rain like we haven't had in a long time, I move past the Buckman. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of just staying on them, kind of figuring them out. Trout's not like flounder or redfish. Redfish, you can catch them Doctor's Lake. Sure. You can catch them Palatka. Trout's not really like that. So,
I went to that trout symposium that FWC put on about changing the regs, and we can talk about that if you want to. Yeah. But I was interested because they had a biologist there, and I'm like, of course, I'm like, well, I want to try to figure these trout out, because to me the river has changed so much in the past 10 years. The fish seem to either move a lot or they're not where they used to be. And he said that one thing that I took to mind is that they're very specific about salinity for spawning.
100%.
He's like, if the water's too fresh, the eggs sink. If it's too salty, they rise up. So it has to be perfect salinity for the sperm and the egg to meet. And that kind of made me think, we had so much issues. And I kept telling the guy, I'm like, how do you assess the stock? He's like, we're checking the St. John's, Nassau, and St. Mary's rivers. I'm like, well, can you give me the data? What's the difference between St. John's, St. Mary's, and Nassau? Because I can guarantee you that this dredging has created a problem with our trout fishing.
100%.
And he's like, the lady's like, who was running it, she's like, we're not, the Corps of Engineers. It's not under our.
Yeah, I've always wondered, where are they actually? Who are they taking the information from the guy at the boat ramp to ask if you caught anything?
I think Trout has definitely taken a hit the last few years, but I think people just hasn't really followed them.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because you stay on them.
But like this year, we had no storms.
Yeah.
Did you get any big ones? We didn't have a spring. Did you get any big ones this spring? I don't
know what you consider big.
8 pounds.
Yeah. I've caught some 8-pounders.
We had a quick spring this year. It went right to summer.
But I think we have two spawns.
We do.
I know we have two spawns. Like people think I like a September bite better than I do, like middle of the summer better than I do a March bite.
Right.
But wow. So I think the fish are bigger. I think they're more eager to eat. early. I don't know. I'm like, yeah.
Now,
Well,
let me.
I mean, it's but you know better than anybody, Eddie. So the people out here are listening. I mean, I'm listening to you because I like you said, the main thing to me is like staying on them because they're moving.
You gotta
stay on them, and we all get stuck in doing this, fishing the same spots. But I branched out and go around and all that. But I think there's a lot of water still on tap.
100%.
And I mean, it's just,
I don't see boats most of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just don't.
But you go fish a Saturday.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, that's not
go
happening.
Fish Saturday or Sunday.
For sure.
Well, and I mean, you don't see me out there very often. I mean,
I don't fish weekends very often. Plus, I'm in, shout out Mitch Taylor because, I'm fishing his boat now, the legendary Spartina. I love it.
What a gorgeous lines on that boat.
Hey,
no,
good job,
it's the
Mitch.
sexiest boat ever. I love that boat. I'm actually about
I like
to
it.
drop
So,
it
I
off
like
on
all.
Monday.
I like the teak where he's kind of like accented the teak into it.
It's just a good platform.
Did you get a new trolling motor? Bob likes my trolling motor.
That's a tough subject. But the boat's amazing for sure. I mean, Mitch has an eye for detail, and the detail's there, the platform's there. It fishes extremely well, extremely dry. So I mean, I love the skiff for sure.
Well, I remember, fishing with you before, and you had said you were looking for a perfect river boat, and it seems like that's
what it is. It's a river boat. I mean, you can get super shallow as well, but I'm a river fisherman 99% of the time. So.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, can I tell you how good you look on this video, dude?
I look good.
Damn, bro.
Are you drinking? What are you? That Bud Light strong.
Yeah, I mean,
it's that LASIK you were talking about earlier, Bob.
Them glasses ain't
right.
I'm like, man, we had to make this 904 Unfiltered Eddie Cavler, man.
Hell no, this is my last one.
I mean, no, it's not the last one because we're gonna have like 904 Unfiltered fun.
I got
out there with the boys, but
I got you.
I mean, it's really, really. Hey, can I talk about this?
Well, you can, but I got one more question.
Go ahead.
Before we get off of, because we got
to get off of it, Bob.
Let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, we've had a lot of questions.
Well, here's one that I'm sure has been asked. If what's your desert island lure? If you had one to pick.
Oh my God, L30 all day.
Is that it?
Yeah. The thing is, like,
what do you throw besides the L30? That's
it's different on time of year. Like super early spring, I'm deep jigging 25, 30 foot. I'm using a 1/4 ounce jig with a Lil John. I'm just deep jigging, and that's like 62 to 65 temps in the spring, and once it gets to probably like 69, I'll start throwing the L30, and I'll throw that all year long. And then when it gets 65 ish, 62, 65 in the fall, I'll throw like a Paul Brown.
Devil.
The Devil. I love the Devil. And then I'll move to like a 52 or like a TT. Like I love the TT. I love the
TT's a little faster sink.
People don't know that. They think it's the same, but it is. See, Bob knows.
You educated me on that.
It's just a little bit.
Because I went to war with you, and I didn't believe you.
100%.
You're 100%.
Bob knows. A lot of people don't know that, but
the TT's the spotted one.
Right,
yes.
Exactly.
Tiny trout, but TT.
Yeah. Now, Eddie, I fished with Crabtree, and I know you brought him up a little bit, and he told me that one thing he recognized about you is that you'll sometimes be out there and things aren't going good, and you're like, by God, I know there's a stud down there somewhere, and you're just going to beat it and almost will the fish into the boat. Touch on that a little bit. Is that kind of one of your philosophies?
Sometimes, like in that tournament I call the 8-pounder, like we stopped, we power pulled down. I just knew there was going to be a fish there, so I just we stayed there for probably at least 45 minutes. That's not something I normally do, so I just downgraded. I caught that 8-pound fish on 2-pound mono.
Yeah,
no leader.
Now explain that, because I'm like, people will be talking about
that sounds crazy, but Jeffrey Crabtree will.
Yeah, that can't be true, but
it's true. Ask Jeff, but yes.
Yeah, he told me, he's like, oh no, and I'm like, what do you do when you're like trying to set hook? With 2-pound test, you just real
you're
gentle?
Not really, you're just gentle. And you work it so slow. I'm working a 500 series reel. So the reel ratio is so slow, so you got to fish slow.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, that's a good fish.
That's only lose me $2,500 on that shit.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to like downgrade the line to get the bite, I think, or slow it down. And I'm a fast fisherman, so it's super hard for me.
Now, why do you think that the small diameter mono, what's your
for trout? I think it's just
visibility.
Yeah, I think so, and it makes you fish slow.
Now, do you think
fishing a smaller reel?
You think that's changed now that because you started fishing before fluorocarbon? I know we did. There was no fluorocarbon back in the day. Does fluorocarbon change your mindset?
100%. Like in the wintertime, I'll throw all mono. I won't.
Do you really?
Flora. Yeah.
You throw the Flora mono?
No, I'll throw straight mono.
What do you like?
Straight mono, just like big game, to be honest.
You know what? That's Mike Phillips.
Yeah.
Mike Phillips will tell you straight up.
It gives you a little bit of stretch, and like it's just
Trilene big game green.
No, I don't use a green, but yeah. But yeah,
Mike was a big proponent. He loved that stuff.
I mean, I used the big game for leader for years, even when fluoro came out.
Yeah,
it's just
I can't get my lures to work with mono anymore. It's like I'm so used to the braid, I can't get the.
We talked about that today.
Yeah.
Well, that's only when I'm jigging normally. Normally, I'll use mono if I'm jigging only early spring. That's it. That's the only time I use straight mono.
Yeah, because I know McGowan, who's my FLA partner, he's like, he'll bring a few rods out. You know, he usually brings 6 or 8 rods on a tournament, and like 2 or 3 of them spool with mono. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
it's just like I just don't do it.
What about rods? What do you think about what kind of rod are you throwing with those spinner rods?
I'm throwing like a 6'9", 6'10", medium light, super fast. I like a super fast tip, super stiff.
You're not throwing a beef stick with it.
I like a super short butt. I don't like a long butt at all. So I like the X Prides. I like the Zodius. I just get more snap, I guess you can call it for me. I don't like a 7-foot rod because I just can't get the snap. It's more of a pull.
So your spinning rod 6'8",
6'8" to 6'10" max.
Gotcha. Fast action.
Super fast.
8 to 17 pound test.
Yeah, sometimes lower, but yeah.
Nice. You get those rods at Strike Zone?
I do, man. Dave looks out, man. Listen, Dave looks
shout out
out.
to Dave. You get everything that Eddie has actually been speaking about tonight. You can actually get at Strike Zone. Just go there and ask for the Eddie Cavler series, and Dave will walk you right to him.
Dave will
it's pretty simple, though. I mean, I've fished with
I'm not doing nothing different than anyone else, and you guys were doing it before me. So
time on the water.
That's all it is. So you guys are before me, and I just, unlike I think a lot of young kids nowadays, like, I looked up to you guys, and I still do, and and that's just what I give my credit where it's due.
Yeah,
I didn't change anything. I just kind of copied you guys. You know what I mean?
Well, you elevated. There's obviously, there's a lot of really great anglers out there. We don't know all of them. They might not be.
A lot of guys don't post. Yeah,
a lot of guys don't post. But the heaviest of the heaviest hitters, to me, one of the best who just could do it was Rick Thacker, because Rick
called me a month ago and told me he's moving. He's about to travel the country. He wants to give me every spot he has.
So he's because he was really sick.
I don't have to call him.
Yeah, he actually just called me probably 3 weeks ago to a month ago and said he's about to travel the country because he just wants to finish his life out doing what he wants to do. He said, "I want to give you everything I have."
Wow.
Well, he had those jaw jacker jigs, and he threw that Mr.
Wiffle.
Does he have any more inventory?
That's the guy who got me deep jigging.
Yeah,
I seen that dude catch 6 fish over.
And that's another thing. I was
7 pounds in a day with mirror.
And I was telling Bob today that I have no plastic game, and I've talked to you about it for a long time, Eddie.
Well, a lot of people don't have it. Like you're either good at hard baits or you're good at soft baits. It's hard to find somebody that's versatile.
It's hard for me. And I was telling Bob about Saturday in the tournament. I was like, bring some plastic because we might be like not even reaching the fish with our plugs. And they could be dragging the bottom, but I don't know why. I grew up with a man stingray grub. A lot of guys, older guys, it was a little fat stingray grub, and I threw a 430 SS pin rod.
I go pee.
So I threw a 6-foot rod, and I would just work that man stingray grub up and down. And I don't know why. I've gotten. Plastic is just. I guess it's just because I'm so used. I just love that good reaction strike on a plug.
Yeah,
but.
I think that's kind of, for me personally, sort of the last frontier in fishing the river is deep.
Yeah.
It's something I've been telling myself I really want to learn. And I've started fishing with Brian, McGowan in the club. He's forced me into some deep water stuff. And it works, but it's like, sometimes you're grinding. Yeah. Getting no bites. You're like, what the hell are we doing?
Well, and the baits are just, so much better now. You got all the different swim baits, the plastics. And I think the problem with me is I've always thought that you have to work a soft plastic up and down. These guys are just taking those plastics and just like swim baits. They're just reeling them. So you're just working them. I was watching those redfish guys. They're not slow. They're just moving them. I watch a lot of that rod tip action when they're working them. Like the way that I work my Paul Brown soft tine, it's very slow. You've seen it. Those guys in Texas, man, they're like this. They're moving it. They're fast.
When Eric and the Mirror guys, when we first, Pat Stinson invited me to do the photo shoots. This has been years ago. Those guys are in town, and they're like, throwing right when the Catch 2000s came out and the other suspending baits, the Miro Deans, and they're really popping them, working them fast. And I'm over there with the 52M. And Eric, I remember Eric saying, what are you doing? I'm like, these fish here are 6. It's not like being in Tampa Bay where you're fishing in 2 feet of water. And like our fish are down 6 or 8 feet deep, and that's why you're going to throw the 52 and the TTR.
Right.
And it kind of opened his eyes to, what we were doing. The other thing that Eric Bachnick liked about Jacksonville, he's like, because to me, and you guys may agree, trout fishing to me it's concrete, wood, and rock.
And that's
wood. I don't have a lot of confidence in oysters or
small fish,
grass lines, but that's what I want to do. And Eric's like, he must have busted 10 or 15 plugs on concrete. When I took him, he's like, this is good for business. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna go through some shit in Jacksonville without a doubt.
No doubt.
When you started taking, I guess Mike was in the boat with you, the guy from Mirror.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's
Mike
a good
Tenney or
one.
whatever.
Mhm.
You took him over there to Rattlesnake Island or whatever, their Exchange Island.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, I told you the bite, you came down and you're like, God, dude, we just wore him out. Mike was just like freaking out.
Yeah.
I mean, our trout around here, and I tell them that's why Eddie calls them big Buicks.
Big body Buicks.
Big body Buicks.
Big bodies, little heads.
And I love CA, and he came up here, but he's still, I fished against CA in 2000, and I messaged him one year. We were having an amazing spring, and Eddie had already caught like multiple 8s and a 9 and all that. And I messaged CA one day on Instagram. I DM, and I said, hey, you need to come up to Jacksonville and do a show. You need to get with Eddie Kabler and do it. It's time, it's a good one. And then they got together and did a great show, and Eddie went out there and
he didn't put all my fish on that show, but yeah.
But that was the time when you guys went on the back of the jetties, and
yeah, we did a lot that day.
You had a tarp
and a
tarp
white
hooked
shell,
up, a white shell, and CA does a really lot of good shows. You got to combine it in 30 minutes.
I love CA. Yeah, I love CA.
But he's always fascinated with our trout fishery.
How about you guys? Like, what are you guys like? One bait if you had to throw all year long.
God,
I want to pick you guys' brain. I want to learn from you guys.
Well, but see, that's where I could throw top waters. I mean, I go through different seasons. Like I like top water at certain times. The 52M and all that comes about when the water temperature gets
Cools down.
Because Eddie's first thing Eddie asked me, like I'll post something and he doesn't even ask. He goes, "What'd the water look like and what's the water temperature?" That's all he said to me immediately. Yeah. He's instantly on Instagram, and I'm boasting my 4, 5, 6. About there, and he's like, give me the water temperature and give me the clarity. And I was like, okay.
See, that's weird because like we said today, I'm out with Chip and he's like, Salooner this and barometer doing that, and we're 2 days past front, 1 day past front, and I'm like, I've never looked at water temp. I've never looked at any of that.
Really?
Like,
and
because I'm forced to go when
you got to fish when you can fish.
You got to go when you can go, and that's one thing Grady told me years ago. He's like, all these guys are sitting there waiting for the perfect time. He's like, I guarantee you, if I go out at sun up and leave the water at sundown, any day I'm going to go out here and catch some fish in this river.
The thing is with that though, you can find the clean water. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if clean water is important to you guys.
It is to me. It's like today with
for trout, especially.
With redfish, not
redfish
so much.
Are croakers, man.
Yeah.
No offense.
But when it comes to trout fishing, if we don't see, if we pull up in an area and it's not clean, and I don't mean clean with sand, like the big plumes of sand.
Stained is different. I don't mind stained water.
No,
but clean water, I like it. And so in the summertime, I've gotten really, like you said, I get stuck on a bait. I do get stuck
7M.
But I'm really on it. But I love that stick bait because I love throwing that KVD stick bait, which I've gotten really.
Too much rattles for me. See, I'm big on rattles. Like,
really? You don't like it?
30 because it's such a subtle rattle.
Well, that makes
KVD
sense.
has a lot of rattle to it.
It's got a lot of rattle.
A lot of stick baits have a lot of rattle. Sometimes I'll throw like silent stick baits just for that reason.
What
about you, Bob? Your favorite bait if you had to fish?
For
trout,
everything,
slam
trout. Or just for trout.
I don't care about everything else.
The most big fish I've caught has been on
top water. For sure.
But if you were to tell me the only thing I could have the rest of the year, I'd say the 52M.
Yeah,
because I grew up as a kid.
Yeah,
that's just what we threw up in Myrtle's Inlet, South Carolina.
I feel like the new generation don't throw the 52 at all.
Well, like we were saying,
they got so much other stuff to throw, man.
Yeah, but nothing. A stick bait ain't working in 55-degree water.
Well, a lot of them are getting on. There's a lot of guys. Walt and
they're not throwing stick baits in 55-degree water. And I love Walt. It's not happening.
And not like although we are, but I'm not sponsored by Mirror Lure. But I'm a Mirror Lure fan because Mirror Lure was the original saltwater bait.
100%.
It's not like we're getting a Bagley's banging lure and have to chain out the hooks and getting a Rapala.
Yeah, it's a saltwater made lure.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah,
I do.
I don't get many uses out of them anyways. But
yeah. You go fish with Eddie, he won't throw a lure more than once, and then it gets tossed to the back. The whole back of my boat's just full of boxes of mirror lure. He's just constantly retiring, which that's really cool.
well, no, it's
his wall is huge. I mean,
Bob's got a wall.
Bob's got a wall full of lures. I had a wall at my old place at Jack's Beach in the garage.
Yeah,
the Wall of Fame, I called it.
For sure.
Yeah,
I definitely got some baits.
I'm coming to Eddie's house and go shopping. I brought some cash.
You can get whatever you want from me, Bob.
Yeah. You can give me those used ones.
Oh, well, Bob was pulling out some old school stuff I hadn't seen in a long time today.
Yeah. That's what I like about Bob. Like, he throws stuff that you kind of don't think about.
Oh,
and the way, I'm not going to put his business out there, but like the way he throws like certain baits for like redfish, no one is doing that.
Dude.
I don't care what anybody says. No one is doing it.
Oh, I got a story for you, man.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you, but if you see right here, we got third place in the last time I fished the tournament with FLA, and Bob and I partnered up. But Bob and he said, let's fish this tournament, and he's like, we're going to get the redfish, and man,
there was no we.
Well,
you're not French. It was Bob.
Well, it was Bob, yeah. But we pulled up to a spot, and he started doing something I just was blown away by. But it was really cool. We got our 2 redfish in there, and he goes, okay, Chip, it's your turn. You guys get the trout. And we went down there. And I mean, sometimes plans come together, and we should have had second. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. But we had one of our fish died in the well.
It's not about winning. It's about just consistent.
And it was about the whole plan.
And that's the thing with Bob. Even
cool.
For how long has he been consistent?
I mean, that's what I mean.
For sure, it's just what it is.
When I was asked to get in the boat, and I was able to get me a little
100%
plaque right there. That's my first one in a long time, man.
Everyone has like that person, like when they sign up for a tournament, they worry about like. And when you go to a captain's meeting and you see Bob, that's the first person. And I'm not like blowing him up or anything. It's just the truth. You're like, okay, I got to worry about that guy.
Well, that was this guy back in the day.
Yeah, for sure.
All I've got of everybody else is I've just been doing it a long time.
Right.
Because I never got out.
Well, I mean, I had, I bought a restaurant.
Yeah.
Some people say Chip can't catch redfish. It's kind of crazy.
I used to. I mean,
come on, man.
Well, one of my favorite baits for redfish back when we were just getting uncut was a Rapala brokenback.
Really?
The J11. The J11 natural color J11, and I was throwing it on a 6-foot spinning rod with 15-pound braid. No.
So mine's a square bill.
And I would throw that. And I would throw.
My favorite.
I threw that thing out there, and I'd reel it. And all of a sudden, that red's head just pop up behind it. He's like, "Hello."
I just don't care about redfish.
But when you were fishing in tournaments,
people think I'm trout guy. But I mean, I catch reds. And my brother DJ.
I tell people I catch a lot of times. I catch reds are in my trout hole.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is this fish doing over here? He's just lost.
Well, now Eddie, one thing I'm impressed with, and you're younger than us by a little bit, but you've really done a great job with your social media, and I got to think. I may be speaking out of turn, but we all had a relationship with Pat Stinson, and I think he must have taught you some stuff about photography because you really make
everything.
You make some really good pictures.
I make 4s look like 6s.
I don't know about that, but I know.
Yeah, but for the long, but I mean, the one that made you get better at taking pictures.
Yeah, but
quality's good.
Pat taught me for sure.
And he told
you got to tickle the
net.
butthole, get the fins up. I mean, Bob.
And Eddie would you'll watch him. He'll flip it and he'll make
it fins.
Nobody takes a picture better than Eddie.
Hands down. Pat Stinson though.
Yeah,
because and Eddie it was trained not to use a net because
because it scarps the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's something you do that's pretty cool and
take photos where people think they know, but
they don't know.
I know that spot. I was like, if you guys think that this guy's taking the picture where he caught the fish,
chestnut checker. Sometimes I keep glasses on with backgrounds.
I got some beach property up the road here for $1,000 for $5,000. This guy is taking his. I mean, that's just.
Well, that's what Pat did. Is when we would do the mirror lure photo shoots, he's like. He had the oxygen system. He's like, we get a big girl, we're going to put her in my live well. Yes. And he knew, okay, we're going to go here. Yep. The sun's got to be here. We want this background. It was
Pat
just
he was a man work. He was a hell of a fisherman.
Oh my God.
Pat's just a great man. I miss Pat. He was truly a great man.
That was
he was a true
friend. His son, every time you see him, you go on a strike zone, he's like, Chip, what's up?
Yeah, I go out. My wife and his wife are good friends. We got to dinner like 3 or 4 times a month.
That's
awesome. Remember Pat and Donald Workman won the first one of the first
Where
tournaments.
did they hit that pollen at? Was it Palm Valley where they hit something in their boat and they flew
No,
out
that
the
was
boat?
that was when he was at Hurricane.
Hurricane.
And they hit a tugboat wave.
Yeah, flew out the intercoastal.
No,
right?
they were leaving Lions
right by
Club.
Blunt Island.
We were all racing to the wall.
Yeah.
No. The boat they were fishing in was the intercoastal. What?
Yeah, it was
yeah.
an R191 Ranger. Nathan Stewart had the same boat.
He used to always tell me, Eddie, wear your life jacket. Wear your life jacket.
God.
I never wore
and that's
them.
something I got to start doing better, because this guy right here wears it all the time, and he wears his kill switch. I run around out there a lot of times by myself.
Same way.
But it's not.
I'm on the bow of the boat before the boat gets off.
I know, but I mean, it's like one of those things. It's like we need to be careful, because what happened was, so we were leaving out. It was an FLA tournament. We were leaving out of Lions Club, and Herb took off with Pat Stinson, and they hit what we call them like a dead weight. You don't see it because the glare.
I've hit him,
and he hit it. They
hit
said you could see the bottom of Herb's boat, and he had that 200 Merc on it. And he went up, and they came down, and Pat Stinson went flying into the console. Yeah. They had to go back to the ramp. Pat went to the hospital. I mean, they got messed up, man. I mean, that's some serious shit.
It is. Especially
you gotta be
with
careful.
Our age, man. We're old, man.
You got. I mean, both legs.
Yeah, my wife.
Who's a new up and comer that you guys are thinking is going to take over you guys? You know what I mean? Because you guys are like the tier.
Well,
no. I'm retired.
Younger than you.
I'm old, man.
Well, I think
washed up.
Walt is
Chris. They're hot right now
because you're in the tournament scene, so you probably see them more than we do. So is it Walt and Chris?
I think Walt. I mean, they're pretty hungry, man. I mean, they won the Angler of the Year last year for the FLA. They put on a great Wednesday night tournament. They're traveling. They want to cut their teeth on the redfish and start winning some of those. And
you agree with that, Bob?
I mean, I respect those guys. Anybody, and I told.
Who do you walk up to the tournament like I say, oh shit, there's Bob, man. Fuck.
Scott O'Brien.
Scott's the man. But see, I look at Scott as a red fisherman.
But he can do.
I look at certain people.
He can bang them all though. I mean,
if he has Wade for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I respect Wade as well.
I just look at Chip and I, and he's seen it firsthand now. Is like, to me, the most prestigious thing is the Lure Club, because we built that.
That is,
when we built it as kind of a farm league for the IFA, because me and Cliff Vaughn were two of the founders, and Carl Hardy and JD Nobles and a lot of these guys were fishing the pro tours, and we're like, well, I said last time we were
JD's
here,
the goat now.
I'm like, JD
redfish wise.
Yeah. What was his partner name? Randy.
Him and Scott.
Randy. Him and Scott are on my Mount Rushmore.
Like JD's serious.
Yeah, but you look at how many you look at his 1099s.
Yeah. no, redfish wise,
he's
for
deep
sure.
into the six figures.
Well,
but I'm talking about like a slam, just all around.
If you're talking about guys that are coming up that are young, and like, I don't know a lot of the guys, but then again, the tournaments aren't. You look at the when you see the local redfish boards, you're seeing a lot of the FLA guys.
Yeah.
Because when the redfish,
I think FLA got some good.
Well,
guys,
when it comes in because there's not that many side tournaments, because you lost to Clay Roberts.
I miss Creek Wars.
The Creek Wars. I mean, if you look at my Triple Challenge weights, everybody was right there, man. Yeah. I mean, Mike Phillips got 11th. That's the first tournament he fished in 20 years. Yeah. I mean, we had to give Jacob and Kieran won it, and they grinded. I mean,
no, for sure, them guys.
And then Dean Oakley got second.
Alec and Justin's good.
Well, yeah, Dean got second. Dean Oakley got second. I mean, there was a nice leaderboard of heavy hitters, but I'd still say there's nobody out there right now that catches my Alec when he gets out of the woods and quits hunting.
Alec's good.
Yeah, that's who I was going to say. That's a guy
Alec's
like
good.
Alec's got an Eddie Cavler mentality.
He's got that touch from God for the outdoorsman, because he can go in the woods.
Right.
He can go in the water.
I remember when Alec was a little younger, man, I could pull up some messages, but and like I was always like trying to feed him information, because he was just a young guy trying to come up. So I was just and now I see him like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have gave him no information.
Well, I mean, his dad, they live right there.
Yeah, no,
they live
great,
on
great people, man.
Oh,
for
great.
Sure.
Yeah. His dad's been around forever, but
there's just so many guys that's good that the young guys don't, like Chris Holloman.
He's consistent bangers.
Yeah, just so many good guys.
That's like we were talking about Chris Ward. I've shared about with him a couple of times, but Chris reminds me of us. He's so hungry, and so I'm going to go out after work every day.
Walt, they were hungry, man. Yeah, they're
See, I don't have the hunger. Like
I have it, but
you don't got it, Chip.
Well, no, Bob's resurrected it.
I'm
with
trying
me
to
getting
get
back into the FLA.
We're going to see Saturday night weather.
Well, after today's fishing, I'm kind of
exactly.
I'm like, I just want to just play.
Like Chip's definitely probably one of the best, like trout guys, I mean, Chip just has that touch. He just doesn't have, I hate to say it, but you just don't have that path, like the drive, I guess.
Well,
but as in skill, that's it.
I'm ready to go after about 2 hours a day biting.
Sure.
If you want to tell me that I'm going to grind, I'm not grinding like I used to. I mean, I have a lot.
But you don't have to. You're proven.
But yeah, well, I mean, but I'm just saying, if you and I left today and you wanted to go fishing, Eddie, if the bite wasn't on, I'd be like, let's go in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, no, we're going to go here. We're going to go there. I don't have that anymore, man. I've done it for too effing long. Getting in and out of that boat for 35.
You better have it Saturday.
If you I'm bringing him.
I'll grind. I might not catch him, but I'm going to grind.
Well, I mean, you want to take my place, Eddie?
I will. I actually want to. I was hoping Walt would call me. I actually texted him yesterday. I said, do you fish?
No,
like,
you're not.
We're in Steve Hatch.
You're not
like, damn.
But it took me 2 days to recover after that tournament. Man. It does. I mean, it's just I haven't fished 8 straight hours in a long time, and it takes a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot.
Well, I've always said this. Everybody kind of looks, oh, you're just fisherman. Fat dude on a boat or something.
Dude.
Like, bro, you stand up there and make 2,000 or 3,000 casts.
A lot.
And the focus, the mental focus.
With the throwing, look at me. I'm going back through my tennis elbows back. Remember I was telling you, Eddie? I mean, I took a platelet injection 16 years ago while it was still experimental. I had the worst tennis elbow. I started throwing left-handed.
I had to go to a casting rod for a while.
Yeah, so because on your spinner rod it runs right down that lateral line and that tendon
where you drop the rod.
Yeah, you drop the rod because it's so I'm back wearing. So when I go fishing, I wear knee brace, I wear arm brace. It's like getting ready for football, but. Yeah, I don't really have that. I mean, I'll be happy to go out there when it's really good, but I'll blow off the days. And I don't have that hunger to go. I just don't. We've done it for too long.
I think I'm getting there. I like solo fishing, but
I like times of the year. I don't give a damn about the summer. My boat never moves. I mean, when it's so effing hot, my boat will move less. I tell people my boat moves less in June, July, August, and September than it will in October, November, December, January, February, March, and April. I'll get out there 3 times a week, but it's hard pressed to get me up. But this guy never gets up early. When's the last time you seen this bitch Dawn Patrol? He knows that I don't get it.
I'm a tide guy.
You are a tide guy. I mean, it'll be like, I'm on the water at 8 o'clock, and he's like, what's going on out there? What's the water look like? And then I leave, and then he throws an 8-pounder up. I'm like, son of a bitch, man.
Oh, see, you guys, I'm the exact opposite. I still get so fired up for tournament. I don't have
tournament for sure.
I don't have, butterflies in my stomach or anything. I'm way past that, and I'm not waking up at 3 a.m. excited, but I'm still fired up. I just love the competition. If I don't have tournaments, I don't want to, because I'm going to go pre-fishing.
Who's your favorite partner you've ever fished with? I know that's a tough one because you got so many.
Well,
you don't want to call someone out.
No, we were talking earlier.
You had fun with, just fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite win? And my favorite win was the Clay Roberts with my wife and son. And the funny story about that is we had pulled up in the river, main channel spot. I'm throwing top water. Sorry, Eddie.
It's all good. Listen, I'm not hating. It works.
Boom, here we go. All right, I'm on. And a good friend of mine, I'm just going to remain nameless, was like right down the bank. And my wife's like, you going to pull in right there on him? I'm like, yeah, goddamn right I am, because I showed him that spot. And we pulled in, and I popped this trout. And I'm like, well, get the net. And I look back, and Latrell's got the net in 3 pieces. The basket's here, and the handle's in 2 parts. And I'm like, well, just hand me the basket.
Makes it so much better.
And I'm like, and this trout, I think it'd be like 6.5 pounds, and got it in the basket. And we're just high-fiving. And I look over there, and my buddies are all just like, and my friend's like, he just gave up after that. He wasn't going to win, But that was fun because it was with her and him. But, I have fun with everybody I fish with. Because I'm not going to fish with somebody.
I know, but there's somebody you're like, man, we just always have a.
Well, Jamie,
even if we don't win,
Jamie's always been your partner.
Well, he's been my, he's, there's like,
Jamie.
I don't think
he's
I do.
such a class act.
Really?
He's airline
pilot.
Bob wouldn't fish it. Nobody wasn't a class act. But Jamie met us at the weigh-in down there in Volano, and he actually gave us a little tip on that redfish spot, and it produced. He was stoked on that.
But yeah, because I've been doing it with him. He was the first person I ever fished a tournament with, and we traveled redfish tour all over the country, for years. And so, and he's like, well, not like Chip, but me and you could go out on the boat and say 3 words all day.
Yeah.
And you just know what we're thinking. We're kind of like, I say we're kind of like clones. We're always thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
We're going to go there. That looks like a spot. But we went back on the road this year, which was fun. He got an Airstream. So he tows the trailer, and we camp in that, and I take the boat. Yeah. But we went back out on the road and fished that Florida Redfish Series, and it was like the good old days, going and learning new spots. And I'm awesome. Like, and then we had a couple of guys, well, you want to hook up? I'm like, we're not networking.
Yeah.
We're gonna go look at maps.
Everybody wants to network these days.
I'm not doing that.
We talked about that earlier. About
Hey, don't even get me started on that, man.
we're gonna do it on our own, and
That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't ask me.
But I
what,
mean,
where,
everybody's
who.
fun. I've fished with fun people.
I'm the same way.
Chuck's fun because we go out there and just cut
Chuck
up and
D and
talk shit about
Jeremy
stuff. Yep.
Yeah, that's
we
awesome.
Need, you know what we need? You know what I want to do is like I think I want to have a party here because the best time to have parties in the fall, winter, and spring when it's not hot. And kind of invite a lot of the people that we all fish together with, and just kind of like an OG party. But it's getting to be 8:25. I mean, my man's here been an hour and a half. We're probably gonna have to do a part 2.
Let's cut it.
We're gonna.
I'm missing part 2.
I got a couple people I want to thank before we get going. And I'm gonna let Bob's gonna finish off. I'm gonna thank first for you, Eddie.
Thank you guys for having me.
It's been absolutely blast to walk down memory lane with you, brother.
Love it.
I consider you a brother, even
For sure. Love you guys.
Bob Morris, you're absolutely the man. I love
Legend.
you. You're like the moderator between it. If you just left Eddie and I here, we'd have got way off. We'd have been talking about.
Well, one thing before we stop, I know we might have to run a couple minutes late, but what's going on your phone? You got any
Oh,
questions?
yeah.
Let's not forget
yeah.
that.
It looks kind of crazy. Over
Give the
there.
people what they want.
Well, yeah, and hey, we got to thank the people out there. I'm gonna go through some of these. So we need Top Water. That's Tide Change 904. Ted, Sonny Lloyd's Construction Heat and Air gave us a thumbs up. We thank you. Jacob's all over the place.
Just get the questions.
Well, I'm trying. Eddie takes the best picks for sure. Pope, let me see. Grind till you find them.
It's a fact.
If it's blowing, we're going.
That's a good one. You hear that, Chip? You listen to these.
I know.
Listen to
Hell
these
yeah,
people.
Eddie with the big body Buicks. We love that. What are your biggest factors that choose the area to fish in the river? That's a good one. Let's take that one.
I mean, water clarity for me.
Click.
I'm not gonna.
But what's the best time? Are you going to be fishing humping out? Are you going to?
I'm
always
a high
said,
tide guy, so I like the last of incoming or the first of outgoing. That's just me because that's because the water's clear.
and I like that too because I'm a proponent of. I don't fish that river when it's dropping like today, Bob. And I'm like, this is a waste of my time.
I
when we're
don't
out
like
here.
low water.
You can't present a lure
When it's
properly.
humping, and I mean, when I call it the Niagara Fall effect, when it's just dumping. So then that's when you probably need to go into the creeks and let it go down.
Never. Never go in the creek.
Eddie's out of creek, man. So that was a great one. The Skin Series is a killer in all water clarity.
Is.
I like that one. What's your biggest factor? We did that one. Thank you for that. John's Fish. How do y'all feel about line hooks? Inline hooks. Been really good to learn in the plug game.
Oh,
Is that
I hate them.
single hooks?
Yeah,
Is that taking off the trebles?
I mean, traveling this year, and this was weird on this Florida Redfish series. We probably caught, I'd say 80% of our fish on hard baits, which is weird for redfish. And we were throwing those little rapalas with inline hooks because over here in the grass, that's the only thing you can get to run through the grass.
For sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I would, if you were to tell me tomorrow,
Saturday, would you use inlines?
Hell no.
Okay, thank you.
Here's another good. This is from a good friend of ours, Eddie, and you met Brian Seaton from years way back.
Yeah,
Brian has
Brian's
supported
the
me
man.
forever.
I played golf with Brian.
He said thoughts of the underwater sound of the pot from mono versus braid.
I don't think.
Are you
going to
get the same snap?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a factor. I mean, I don't think about that at all.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I mean, I'm more about rattles in the bait than I am.
But you
about
do
the
have a hell of a
line.
snap.
I got a little snap. A little snap.
We've had. I mean, the interaction tonight has
There's
just
a
been
lot,
absolutely
yeah.
amazing, and I want to thank everybody out there. But it is getting to be 8:30. It's 8:28. These guys got to do that. We're gonna go around the horn. Bob, you got 1 minute.
I just appreciate you coming out, and it's
Appreciate it.
as
man.
always a pleasure to be around you and listen to. I don't think we gave up too many secrets, but I think people probably pulled some. If they didn't pull some,
There's no secrets. Just
ideas,
time on the water, man.
if they didn't pull some ideas off of this to make them better anglers, then shame on them.
Yeah.
Well, I think the cool thing about this is going to be set. We're going to upload this, so if people want to go back and just kind of, after listening, go back and kind of dissect a little bit of it. I think we popped out some really, really good information.
It's a great time.
Eddie, you
man.
got 1 minute.
Just thank you guys for being here, man. Shout out to my parents. Shout out to my hot smoking wife, my son. Just appreciate you guys, man.
Well, there you go, guys.
Go catch
Go catch them up. Hey, listen to us. We'll be tuning in. We're going to be doing a little something different on the next episode of the 904 Unfiltered. I'm going to have John Metcalf coming in on Tuesday, a little guitar. The way this is going to work, whenever I have a fishing person in, most of the time Bob will be my co-host. We'll put the person in that chair right there, but we got a couple different things. But I do have some couple different shows coming up. We're going to have Brandon Woods is going to come in the week before Christmas. He's
doing well too, by the way.
And I kind of think it's a good thing to come and talk about his spinal injury he's had and how he's overcome some of that. And we're not going to get off the fishing topic 100%, but I'm going to do a couple of things. But one more time, thank you, Eddie Calvert, for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me.
Bob Morris, you're absolutely the man. I love you. We had a best time fishing today. Thank you, Piper Nix. I love you. 904 Unfiltered. We'll check it out. Go like, subscribe. We love you guys.